Welcome to tonight's Community and Place Committee meeting. I'm acting chair tonight, Councillor Nick O'Donnell. Before we begin, we do have members from the public who are wishing to speak, and so we will give them the opportunity to do that first. Can I remind you, please, that you have 3 minutes, and we will follow the instructions that were just announced. First up, are these in any particular order, or they're just okay? So the first up, I've got Imogen Smith.
No, I'm speaking first, and then the children.
You would like to speak first.
Yeah.
Okay. So in that case, first up will be Fran Hicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Start now.
Is this working? You can hear me, yes.
It is. When the light is on, it's working.
Yeah. Okay. I'm Fran Hicks, a representative of West Somerset Quakers, who are a member of Citizens Somerset, and I'm a co-chair of the Community Safety Action Team, along with Jose here. We, with me, are we would have had representatives of other Citizens Somerset member institutions, though I have a fellow Quaker member. Oh no, he's downstairs waiting for the Methodists, who obviously have been held up. Sorry, so we should have had them. And Nigel Johnson, the children's head, should have been here, but he sends his apologise. So, but we do have Ronnie Roach, a representative from the Victoria Park Action Group, who's also in support of us. We use community organising to build our collective power, developing our people to participate in public life, to strengthen our organisations as civic players, and to work together to make change on things we care about. And we do this by bringing people together across difference. Noah.
Okay, yes. Because you'd like to bring in Noah now and then Imogen. Okay, that's right.
Hello, my name is Noah Blanco, and I am from St James Church School and part of the Citizens of Somerset. We have been developing our listening and community organising skills during the last 2 years. In Year 4, we did listening, and the results? Park safety is not very good, especially in the underpass. So we decided to do something about it. Near the underpass, the other day, me and my mum saw some young men drinking, smoking, and taking drugs. And another classmate saw that there was a man unconscious in the underpass, and she put them on a bench near the underpass.
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much, Noah. Imogen, would you like to speak now?
My name is Imogen, and I'm a Year 6 student at St James Church School. On this journey, we've not only improved our leadership skills, but have learned about democracy and power held by others, and most importantly, ourselves. The underpass is used by many schools, including our own, and members of the public. We've heard many stories of bad things happening in the underpass, such as people getting nearly run over by speeding bikes or getting attacked. People feel unsafe. Some would rather cross the dual carriageway. So we would like to urge you today to say yes to our acts of mirrors, to make the people of our community feel safer.
And Nigel Smith would have briefly said, our children are precious. Keeping our children safe is everyone's responsibility. I do everything in my power to keep them safe whilst they're at school. Help me keep them safe on their journeys to and from school.
Right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming along. So you're speaking to item number 8, which is looking at the putting mirrors on the underpass. Well, I'd like to thank you very much, Noah and Imogen, for coming on and having the courage to come and speak at a public meeting, especially one that's being broadcast on YouTube. Thank you very much, and we will certainly take everything you've said into consideration. I think it's very important. And I think, as Tom Deacon said last week, we take the safety of our young people very seriously and as paramount. And well, I hope you can stay for the item when we come to address your members. It is item 8. We haven't even got to item 1 yet, but I don't think it should be too long. So please do have stuff, tea or coffee while you're waiting. Okay, are there any other public speakers? No. In that case, we will now formally begin the meeting. So first item, do we have any apologies?
Thank you, Chair. We got apologies for Councillor Beth Fernandez and Councillor Ian Pollard.
Okay. Right. Next item, for tonight's meeting, do we have any declarations of interest? Okay. So third item, minutes of the last meeting that was held on Tuesday, the 24th of June, 2025 at this place. So has anyone had a chance to read them? I do know, Councillor Ellis, that your amendment has already been put through and is already here. I can read it. Young People Working Group. Yes, it's there. So that amendment has been made. Are there any other amendments or comments people would like to make on the minutes from the last meeting? In that case, may I have a proposer that we accept these as a thank you, Councillor Strauss. May I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Ellis. All those in favour? All those against? Okay, so that's carried. Do I sign them now? Okay. Right. Item number 4 is the forward plan. Is that coming up on the screen? It's just on decisions. Okay. So I've got tonight's meeting agenda up there on the forward plan. So the next one, when is the next meeting? The 21st of August. 4th of September. What's the 21st? Ah, yes. 4th of September. Are there any comments? No? Okay. Well, we just need to note those, don't we? Yeah. Okay. So, item number 5, update from the chair. Sadly, Councillor Fernandez can't be here, and she has other commitments today. But she has sent through a report that's should we wish to pass on. So, first thing she wants us to note is that Craig, Councillor Strauss and herself met with the neighbourhood policing team last Wednesday morning for a walking tour around Taunton. Discussions centred on areas of concern and what was being done to address these, which also included CCTV provision. Craig and herself met with Taunton Chamber of Commerce executive also to discuss what's on offer at Christmas. I'm assuming that's in relation to the events. Anyone else have that meeting? No? Okay, so I'm assuming that's what we're planning to put on for Christmas. So, and then finally, Councillor Fernandez, Craig and Councillor Strauss met with Giles and John from Visit Somerset to discuss recent developments. And so, Councillor Strauss, was there anything you wanted to add from that meeting? Because I've literally just got the bare bones.
Thank you, Chair. All I'll say is it was a very positive meeting. We are looking to dovetail what Taunton Town Council are doing, along with what Visit Somerset are doing, because it doesn't make sense to reinvent the wheel. And a lot of exciting developments hoping to be announced very shortly. but it was extremely satisfactory.
Okay, that's very good. Right, that's everything I have from Councillor Fernandez as chair of this committee. So update, next item, update from chairs of working groups. So the first working group, I go from the list from the minutes. This committee seems to have a lot of working groups underneath it. First of all, the young people working group. Is there anything you wanted to?
No, we've obviously got the key picking up from on the kids' demands for about the mirrors tonight, and then the youth specification. I guess we'll be meeting in the next couple of weeks, maybe, to take the next stage of the commissioning of the youth thing forward.
Okay. And while you're there, Councillor Ennis, is there anything you'd like to update us on the climate working group?
Yeah, we met on the 7th of July. I think I've reported before on this, but I can't. I get so confused about. We've had so many meetings recently, but yeah, just briefly, just for the benefit, it says young people here as well. We had our first meeting where we asked James Lawson along. He's one of the Somerset young MPs. I think it's 3 of them that are elected, and it's this part of the youth parliament. I don't know if you guys kind of dovetail with that at all, but he's incredible. So he decided that his major campaign during his term was going to be climate and the environment. And so we thought, oh, we can, let's tap into his passion and enthusiasm, and he's got lots of ideas and lots to contribute. So we've brought him onto onto the climate and ecology working group. So that's a young person helping steer what this council does, and we do a lot in terms of climate and the environment. So that's really positive. And we had a very long discussion about trees and the watering of the new trees that have been planted, where there's been a bit of a issue, and yeah, other things like that. And we're having another meeting on I think it's the 8th of September. Oh, and the arts and culture working group, we need to meet. We haven't recently.
Okay, so then the hospitality and tourism working group.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just to update you, since the last meeting, I attended the GWR annual meeting for shareholders in Swindon on the 24th of June. I did report to full council, but just for the record for this particular committee, the really exciting news is there's a rail card at the moment for Devon and Cornwall. In September, it's anticipated it will be called the Peninsula Rail Card. They're just waiting for final approval, and that will include parts of Somerset, including Taunton, so that anybody in Taunton can now, with the benefit of that card, they will be able to travel for about £12 for the card for adults. It's a lot cheaper than senior rail card or disabled card, but we're just waiting for the final details on that. But that really is exciting news, and there were a number of other things that I won't go into now, which are particularly relevant at the moment. I had also, as you said, Chair, I attended the meeting with Visit Tourism. With Visit Somerset, and that's very exciting as well. It very much comes under this working group. The award scheme that we mentioned last time, it's in progress. There's a lot still to be done, but that's definitely planned to go ahead, as well as the categories being young people and ethnic restaurants. And finally, Bridgewater and Taunton College, I have to catch up with them. We discussed the project to develop high-level hospitality qualifications with the help of the Institute of Hospitality. I'm still very keen to cooperate, and I just need to update what's happening with the college. Unfortunately, nobody came to the last working group meeting, so I need to follow it up independently with them. I hope to have a lot more information for the next meeting of this committee.
Thank you. Lovely. Thank you very much. And this is also, we have a civic task group, but I think that's Bev, Councillor Fernandez chairs that, so we'll move on. We'll have an update on that next time round. Okay, so unless there's anything pressing from any other working group that I'm unaware of, we can move on. So item number 7, we now have a a verbal update from the local policing. I think it is worth bringing them on in now, actually. It's, they haven't turned up. They have been online before. I was hoping they would have heard the beginning of the meeting when Imogen and Noah were relating. So they were here online last meeting, so and then they just so they would have heard everything. No? Okay. All right. Okay. Well, if anyone had any questions for the police, it might be worth jotting them down, and we can forward them on. I think one thing Councillor Smith-Roberts was wanted to mention was about flagging up just how important it is for members of the public to flag any issues or any concerns or email incidents, how they can report it to the police, and actually just how vital it is or important it is to report things to the police, because it enables them to build up a picture. And again, they might not action it straight away, but we build up of evidence. So it is very important. I think Councillor Smith-Roberts was keen that people were made aware, and we need to communicate better as to how people can report incidents to the police, and actually to see the importance of doing so. Right. So with that, we now come to item 8, which is the safety mirrors on the underpass of Trenchard Way. We have heard from the children at the school the issues surrounding the underpass, just how unsafe young people find that underpass. I just really want to commend them and the work they've been doing to find ways of actually finding a solution rather than just complain about it. They have come up with a solution, and this is the solution is what is on offer today. And so I would like to hand over to Tilly to present our report.
Thank you, Chair. So the report today is focused on members to approve a delegation authority for community and place manager for the purchase and installation of security mirrors in the underpass near Victoria Park. As we all heard at the beginning of today's meeting, there's been a request for 2 convex security mirrors either end of the underpass near Victoria Park, which has been initiated by young people through Citizens UK Somerset. We've had pupils from St James's Church School leading community action, calling for safety improvements with mirrors, CCTV and lighting upgrades in the underpass. The mirror installation is the first step and focus of this report, with CCTV and lighting to be investigated separately. Both of these items are to be investigated separately, as there are more logistics to understand and the range of options that need to be considered. In particular regard to the CCTV, it should be noted that the request for the camera is going to be considered as part of our wider CCTV strategy, as we get several requests for CCTV cameras, and we have a upgrade plan in progress. So it's a case of evaluating each request that comes through to understand how it fits in with our larger CCTV network. This request aligns with the Town Council's priority 3 of an engaged community and demonstrates our responsiveness to youth-led community concerns. The financial consideration for this is a spend of up to £5,000 from the community safety budget, 160 budget line 7266. And I would like to note that we have contacted Somerset Council's traffic engineering and road safety teams, and they've confirmed their support to work with us on the installation of these mirrors where possible. To highlight the key risks, there is a reputational risk if action isn't taken after public commitments. and there is a potential for antisocial behaviour, as we've seen from the examples demonstrated today, if safety measures aren't implemented. In terms of equality considerations, there is potential for visual impairment issues if the mirrors aren't installed properly. So we must consider anti-glare mirrors, be mindful of the installation height and the angle. In terms of climate and ecological impact, this is minimal, but it is important that we consider the longevity of the mirror quality, as well as the emissions from the purchase and installation. The time scale for the mirror we estimated between 8 to 12 weeks, but this is pending quotes and coordination with Somerset Council. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Tilly. So, yeah, just a little bit more background. The pass obviously comes under the authority of highways and Somerset Council. So we have had to do a lot of discussion and open up channels of communication with Somerset Council. First of all, as chair of operations and assets, we did say through Paul Grant, our officer, then it came clear that through the deputy clerk or clerk, we made representation of the issue to Somerset Council. And it was a great joy that 2 weeks ago they replied back saying they were fully supportive of us. So they're very happy, but made it clear it's for us to install the mirrors, but they will support us and they will help us with it. So that's good news. So that's a major hurdle. So there really is nothing now to stop us. Do I have any further comments from councillors? Councillor Garside?
I'd just like to say, I just want to thank Citizens UK for inviting me to come and look at that underpass, because I've never ever been there in my life before. I've lived in Taunton for 40 years, and it horrified me that there's such a place exists. It is like a scene from a horror movie, and I totally understand where you're coming from. And when I saw you on TV the other night, I was so proud of you. You know, I could have, if I'd have been your mum, I couldn't have been prouder. Noah and Imogen, you are such wonderful representatives of Taunton. I think you've done a wonderful job here, and I'm totally in favour of this. And you know, I'm surprised that there are only mirrors. I think we need to go much further there, because it is a really unpleasant, nasty spot, and I wouldn't like my children to go there.
Councillor Ellis?
Yeah, obviously I fully support this. It's great if we can, when young people come together and spend so much time and effort addressing key issues that they face, and they're not just that, but putting forward actual solutions and engaging with the people who have the ability to make those decisions, then and you know, you've got a very strong case that you've put forward. I think it only behoves us to actually really, you know, take those on board and act. It's all one thing, listening and making nice noises and saying well done children, but then it's action that counts. So it's really good that we're able to act on the mirrors issue tonight, and you have done an amazing job. I don't think children and young people need to realise they have a lot of power, and all it takes is actually coming together and finding solutions and then making your voice heard, and you have a lot of power and your voices deserve to be heard. So I'm very supportive. I'm a bit disappointed about the CCTV having to sort of wait pending review thing. I'm sure there are all sorts of issues, logistics with CCTV. It just seems, I don't know, just when you were talking about the sorts of things that you've witnessed there, it just seems a bit of a shame that we expect people, ordinary members of the public, to have to deal with, you know, people lying down, you know, unconscious on the street, or they have to kind of feel that if it was on CCTV, then, you know, it would be picked up. And then you want a really more proactive system where, you know, the police and whatnot are actually, you know, studying what's going on in that area, and are like, right, there's going to be kids coming through in a minute on their way to and from school. Let's get somebody down. Let's have a patrol there. Let's make sure they don't have to actually witness that. So I'm a bit disappointed about the CCTV, but maybe you can tell me a bit more about. So in, I think, December, did I see this on a forward plan somewhere, that there's something is going to come to us in early December about the CCTV? And yeah, I'm a bit disappointed. You know, that is a fair few months away. So as it's getting darker in the autumn, you know, it just worries me a bit that we're sort of putting it, you know, into that sort of wider review. There may be very good logistical reasons for that, but just reassure me how quickly things could move once there's a paper about the actual CCTV.
You haven't answered, but I didn't have an answer now.
Thank you, Councillor Ellis. So with the CCTV, as you say, there are lots of logistical challenges. One being that it is operated by Somerset Council, and so there's a bit of a pipeline in terms of the raise a request with Somerset Council. There is the involvement of BT, National Grid, etc. You may be aware as well, we previously voted on an upgrade plan for our CCTV, which we are in the process of hopefully starting soon, waiting for a start date for that based on other works that have been taking place. And that will allow us to have more digital cameras in the town, which means that actually the expansion and installation of additional cameras will be more efficient. The system should work better together because they can bounce signals off each other, etc. By sort of, I guess, jumping the queue in terms of adding additional cameras that are before the upgrade plan, it adds challenges in terms of if we don't have those key cameras in place, they can't communicate, and it means that the system can't work as it's intended. So our hope is to move forward with our upgrade plan, and then we're now discussing as officers to make a plan to review the additional requests, because we've had requests from the young individuals today, which is fantastic. We've also had requests from other parties for CCTV, so we need to consider them together so we can make sure the system works as a whole and can be utilised effectively. And in terms of the report in December, that is correct. We do have a report coming, and I believe that is to review the current agreement we have in place and to discuss this strategy. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, I think in the end, it's CCTV is a much more integrated system. The network requires much more behind the scenes and connections being made. Not as simple as just putting two cameras up. A lot more behind the scenes needs to be done. But we are pursuing. Councillor Strauss.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to make 3 points. The first is that I, of course, visited you as Mayor, and when the presentation was made, I was quite overwhelmed. I just have to congratulate you both on the outstanding presentations that you gave. You are a credit to the young people of Taunton, you really are. And I was really quite moved by what I heard. I'd just like to say that I am in total agreement with my colleagues in everything that's been said. I just want to add 2 more things. I do use the underpass myself. I've used it with my mobility scooter, and I can certainly reiterate it is a very forbidding place, and certainly what we've been talking about is absolute priority. I would say that from a personal point of view as well as my official one. And the final point is we did talk about the fact the lighting needs to be improved. Now, I don't know where we're at on that. Have we made any progress? Is that something that can be done relatively quickly? Because the lighting is very dim at the moment in the winter months. It's not that effective. So what's the situation on that, please?
The lighting, that was one of the asks as well, CCTV and the lighting. And I believe at the time some of the lights were fixed, but I'm not entirely sure where we are with that. I've had a conversation with Councillor Deane or Councillor Smith-Roberts, but I'm afraid my knowledge isn't secure enough to relate at the moment. I don't know if the office is here, but there might be something the operations and assets would have to look into.
My understanding that the lighting was deemed that it would be under Somerset Council's prerogative in terms of the upgrades. So at this time, as officers, we haven't moved forward with the investigating the night further beyond the initial upgrades that Councillor O'Donnell mentioned previously.
I think there are plans. There are plans. So it is being looked into.
Thank you, Chair.
Right. Are there any other comments? Well, in that case, I think we're ready to vote. So the proposal is that, is the one at the top, isn't it? Members to approve, delegate authority to the community place manager on the purchase and installation of security mirrors to the underpass in Victoria underpass with that estimated budget of up to £5,000 from the community safety budget. And do I have a proposer? Thank you, Councillor Strauss. Do I have a seconder? I should go to Councillor Garside, since you both have been to the past. All those in favour? That's carried. All those against? No, no. That has passed. So, Somerset Council are cooperative and are supportive of the scheme. The Town Council has now approved to spend the money and to install them. So hopefully, and I hope you picked up on the report that it could be between 8 and 12 weeks. But hopefully by the time new school academic year starts, you should have mirrors. Good security mirrors so you can see what's in the underpass before you enter it, or you can at least see who's behind you as you're walking through it. Councillor Strauss.
I'd just like to reiterate, we haven't forgotten about the other points. They are being moved forward as fast as we can. Obviously, it requires the cooperation of Somerset Council, but we're not leaving it alone. I don't want to think we're just going to finish with the mirrors. This is an ongoing process.
Thank you, Councillor. I was just about to move on to that. Just about to say that, and also say thank you so much for bringing this to our attention, because unless people do, we don't always know about it. So it's always important that if you see something that you think needs fixing, come and tell us, come and raise it, and start a campaign. So well done, both. So behind a bit of that. Well done, Imogen. Well done, Noah. Thank you very much. And go on. I'm going to break protocol now. I will let you speak.
So these are going to be like the mirrors in car parks, right? Like so they can't be like shattered.
They have to be unbreakable, I think, for health and safety reasons. Otherwise, people will smash them and just use the glass for. So they have to be unbreakable for health and safety.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And go.
Yes, I would take this opportunity to leave. We have a very long meeting ahead of us. Councillors, I got need to go and refresh their glasses. Water, obviously.
What you're inviting us.
Might need a wee break, a number of wee breaks.
Yes, certainly. And look forward to seeing you again. Thank you. And,
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
oh, and Noah and Imogen, looking to becoming members of youth parliaments when you get up to
Yeah.
senior school.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What's youth parliament?
His eyes were.
Youth parliament, yes. Right.
This is what makes being a councillor so worthwhile.
Yes. 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 Being able to deliver and seeing the effect that being able to deliver has just on the wider community. That's what we're here for. Right. So item number 9 is the flag flying protocol review, and hand over to Joe Coleman. Thank you ever so much for letting the children go first, because I know you have to.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, I do need to disappear in about 10 minutes time. I've got to
Yes.
my young person to
Yeah.
hospital, so do apologise. Hopefully you've all had a chance to review the flag flying report and the protocol. A little bit of background, the protocol was reviewed recently by the Civic Task and Finish Group, and it supports all the compliance with UK laws and guidance on flag flying. The report literally determines what we do at the Deane House flagpole. No other flagpoles within our membership come into this protocol. This is about our regular flying of flags throughout the year. So the review has literally updated the calendar of flags that are flown with the dates. So we've clarified that, made that easier to read, and we've made a few tweaks to language literally to make things sound easier and understandable to everybody. In terms of corporate planning implications, as mentioned when we brought this report originally to yourselves, this supports priority 3, an engaged community. It reinforces our civic duties and our ceremonial roles, and it enhances public visibility and community pride through flag use. There's minimal environmental impact, although we will consider sustainable and ethical production methods when we're sourcing our replacement flags. In terms of cost, there's no necessary ongoing cost other than if we need to replace a flag, if it becomes weather worn or broken, or it just starts to look a bit tatty, or if there's another flag at some point that gets introduced into the calendar. All of that would need to be brought back through for a decision through community in place. We want to try and control the flags that go up so that they are thought through and we consider any sort of implications to members of our community. In terms of risk assessment, safety risks during flag raising do need to be considered. If equipment's not maintained properly, then obviously that's a big concern. The mitigation for that is to incur regular inspections, maintenance and training for members of staff that are using the flagpole. Reputational risk is another factor that can be impacted if we don't look after our flags, or if we're not necessarily thinking through all of the connotations with flying certain flags, or missing new dates of significance or things that happen periodically throughout the year that we may wish to support. So it's just keeping ahead of the curve of different events that we might want to support. In terms of timescale, the actions that fall out of the protocol are just to purchase several new flags. We don't currently have a Holocaust Memorial Day flag. We don't have a Commonwealth Day flag, and we would like to buy a Taunton Town Council flag, all of which the use is determined within the protocol. So the recommendations to councillors tonight are to consider and approve the updated flag flying protocol, to consider and approve the request to purchase a Taunton Town Council flag, and to consider and approve the request to replace flags as and when they become damaged or weather worn, and to grant delegated authority to the community and place manager for spend of up to £250 per flag. So if there are any questions around the protocol, I'm happy to take them.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jo. Yeah, so I think it seems a small thing, but flying flag is a time-honoured way of recording events, celebrating people, dates, days, celebration. It's a way of acknowledging celebration, and recalling, just recalling various events like Holocaust, St George's Day. You know, there are ways people unite around flags. That's been part of history. So I think it's a very important policy, and one that I like to support. I would, if I may, add one other flag to this and date.
Yeah, we can add further flags, but that would be for a future agenda item for consideration by the committee. So this is reviewing the current recommended set of flags by the Civic Task and Finish group. We would follow the same channels to add more in. So,
because I do know that Disability Week is in May, and we haven't got that on the list, and I think it'd be important to add that to scheduled events of flag flying. So, so I need to do that through the which committee?
We take it through Task and Finish. They can make it that recommendation to committee.
Okay, right. So we shall
just we
disability
debate and make sure that we've thought through all of the connotations and make sure there's no clashes.
Okay. Well, it does. I think it's half clashes with Somerset Day, but yeah, but that's right. I think Disability Week lasts all week. Somerset Day just for a day. Anybody else thought of a flag they want to add to that Joe's list? But otherwise, I should go for Councillor Strauss and the Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. As I'm the chairman of the Royal Society of St George for Taunton and Exmoor, do I need to declare an interest?
I don't know.
I declare an interest.
I think St George is another standard flag that gets flown regularly, which I think possibly predates your organisation as well.
It has been going a long time.
Okay, so Councillor Evans?
Yes, this seems very, very sensible. It's a very good piece of work, as one would expect. So task and finish group and Ms. Ju Kuma. Thank you. So yeah, and I'm so glad we got control of that flagpole. And I do agree with Nick, you know, in this council, we do like to mark key dates and observe things and respect different communities and honour different days, whether it's Armed Forces Day or whatever it happens to be. So this all looks good. I was just going to ask on the says occasion traveller and roaming community. I think there's a week, isn't there?
There is
In June.
in June.
That's right.
The flag.
We do have flag. I just found it ironic that we spend most of our time just trying to get them out of our parks. And I just wondered if we have any links with, like, if there's something positive we could do to sort of build bridges as a town council to sort of, and maybe that would also help in terms of deterring, you know, occupation of areas where persons are not meant to be having encampments. I don't know. It kind of like felt ironic that we spend a lot of time, you know, taking action that's trying to sort of, yeah, whatever. Just seemed a bit ironic. But I think it'd be good if we, you know, try to have a positive connection and build some sort of, if that's possible, and maybe that would relieve some of the sort of community tensions and difficulties that we might have experienced in the past. I don't know, that's just an observation. And I think also,
I think that's going to have to be one back for the task and finish group. Like
It's already in the calendar.
Oh, good.
is it? It's not on there.
I think it is, isn't it?
it's on the calendar, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Occasion, June.
It's on the calendar.
I've just seen it.
Also, on disability, yes, I would support doing something tomorrow.
I read down the whole
Yeah.
list.
On there's umpteen different points in the calendar. On disability, there's you know, National Disability History Month. There's an International Day of Disabled People, and there's, I think, Learning Disability Week might be the one in June. There's also lots of Deaf Awareness Week, BSL Awareness. There's quite a number, so I think that the group will have to kind of have a little sift and look and go with maybe one of them to start with, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, to come back on that point, Chair, I think it is worth the debate, because what we don't want to do is get into the habit where we're flying so many flags all of the time that we do value the flags that we do fly. So I think you're right, Councillor Ennis, there are lots and lots of different disability flags, and I think we just need to look at them all and choose the most sensible, most inclusive option.
Councillor Garson?
Can I just say I'm very much in favour of flags. I like I like a nice flag fluttering in the breeze. It, you know, looks, especially in celebrations, and it does, you know, to give a sense of pride. I think that's very, you know, is brilliant. But and I'm very glad that we have control of the flagpole, and I think it's a very good investment, and I'm totally for it. But I think there's a danger of maybe having too many flags, you know, and that takes away the importance of it, you know. So I'm very much in favour of having a Taunton flag and a Somerset flag, because I think, you know, people feel a sense of pride in where they live, and that's what we need to generate.
Yes, I do agree. Having Taunton flag and obviously the Union flag, and I mean, we have a flag park. I'd like to see a flag flown every day. So obviously we're not going to have 365 flags, 66 on a leap year, but I would like to see a flag. It'd be great to have a flag flown every day. As you say, you've only got to watch the Glastonbury Festival to know how great flags are being flown. So yes, I was wondering whether we fly the flag of any delegation from a foreign country that comes to visit the town council. I'm aware that a few years ago we had a delegation from the EU visit Taunton. So could we fly the flag on those days as well?
They're in reference to flying flags when we have visiting twinning groups.
Yeah, and it's the twinning groups, but I'm talking about that it wasn't.
It's not. Okay.
I think whatever we do, we just have to be mindful that we are able to communicate a clear message to members of the public as to why we're flying it, and that it is something that is of public interest.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to think if we had delegations from other countries visiting town council, we would put that out on our comms.
Obviously, we need to make sure we have the budget to buy those flags that
Yeah.
I only
Yeah, that's
want.
the thing,
We
isn't
have
it?
to give that consideration.
Councillor Strauss, you,
Yes, I was going to mention the twinning because traditionally we've always flagged
Yeah.
flags on those visits, but it's not actually in this list.
Yes,
It
it
is,
is.
is it?
Yes, it is, Martin.
yes, now,
Oh, I see. It's
the USA hosting official visits. I take it that's from Taunton, Massachusetts. That time they came back in.
Donald Trump.
No, not flying the flag for him.
Yes. So, well, we have the policy or protocol, sorry, before us. I think we've discussed it quite well. So we need a proposer to accept this protocol, Councillor Strauss, and seconder, Councillor Gartner. All those in favour of this policy protocol, sorry. Right, anyone against? That carried unanimously. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Yes, I was looking at the protocol, you see, and I thought that was all it. So we were considering and approving the updated flag flying protocol. To consider, we considered and approved the request to purchase a Taunton Town Council flag. I think we agree on. Considered and approved the request to replace flags should they become damaged or weather worn. And members to grant delegated authority to community and place manager for a spend of up to £250 per flag. Do I need to go through one? Okay, so on block, do I have a proposer for all of those? Councillor Garside, seconder, Councillor Strauss. All those in favour on block, all those against? That's carried unanimously. Okay, right. So I was looking at the one, looking at the protocol, not the report. Right. Okay, so Joe, if you do you need to go?
Yes, Chair, I'm going to have to pass over to Tilly. I haven't read my bullet points, so hopefully she'll be able to present the report in my absence. I'm sorry, I need to leave.
Oh, is this for the Mayor's Cadet?
Civic protocol and Mayor's Cadet.
Yeah. Okay. Right, so item number 10. We have the Civic protocol approval and the Mayor's Cadet. So I shall, yes, I'll let Tilly make the report, present the report first, and then I'll read through all the recommendations. Okay, Tilly.
Thank you, Chair. So the purpose of this report is as follows. Members are requested to consider and approve the civic protocol. Members are asked to note that an additional information sheet has been prepared containing supplementary guidance, which, whilst not essential to the main protocol, may be of practical benefit to any incoming mayor or deputy mayor. Members are invited to consider and approve the proposed reinstatement of the Mayor's Cadet as outlined in section 12 of the Civic Protocol. And finally, subject to approval, members are asked to delegate responsibility to the Civic Task and Finish Group to develop an inclusive and transparent selection process for the Mayor's Cadet role. The Civic Protocol was developed in consultation with the Civic Task and Finish Group, and it provides clear guidance on the roles and responsibilities of the Mayor, Deputy Mayor, their consort/escort and councillors. It's designed to promote consistency and clarity in civic functions to be read alongside the Council standing orders. An additional information sheet supplements the protocol with practical advice for new civic office holders and recommends reinstating the Mayor's Cadet to support the Mayor and represent local cadet forces. It also reinforces the Council's commitment to youth engagement and recognition of contributions from local cadet corps. The implications of the corporate plan, it aligns with priority 1, a council that delivers, priority 3, an engaged community, and it also supports the Armed Forces Covenant and engagement with veterans and uniformed youth groups. It also helps uphold the Mayor's role and strengthen civic pride within Taunton. There's been no significant environmental impact identified for this. The financial and resource implications are as follows. There is anticipated that there will be minimal financial impact for this. But support is required from the community and place manager, the civic lead, civic apprentice who is set to start in late summer 2025, as well as the mayor's drivers / sergeant animators. The risk assessment summary. So where the reputational risk if clear civic guidance is not in place, and the protocol hopes to mitigate this by providing structure and clarity for civic roles and ceremonies. In terms of equality considerations, there will be a quality impact assessment required. And it aims to ensure inclusivity in civic representation and mayor's cadet selection. There is an immediate implementation timescale for this, so upon approval, this can take place straight away. And the mayor's cadet selection process will be developed and in place for May 2026 mayor making ceremony. Finally, the recommendations are to approve the civic protocol, to note the additional information sheet for incoming mayors / deputy mayors, approve the reinstatement of the mayor's cadet, and delegate development of the mayor's cadet selection process to the civic task and finish group. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Tilly. So it is a comprehensive document. It outlines, it's in two halves. One outlines kind of general advice and protocol that mayor should observe in their time, and some guidance. And the additional information is very much for those who are thinking of taking up the role of mayor, things for them to consider, things for them to look at in detail. So this has been through the civic and task group for the civic pension task group in quite some detail, and I know that most of this group here were on that, so it's probably I guess we are quite happy with where the report's gone. So are there any other comments people would like to make? Councillor Strauss?
Whilst I'm disappointed that we haven't been able to appoint a mayor's cadet this year, it's something that I have been very much in favour of. Adrian Price-Sankey has said for some time to me that he feels this would be a very important reintroduction. Nevertheless, I'm in full support of this coming about, and if it has to coincide with the mayor making ceremony, so be it. But it has my 100% support.
Yeah. Any other comments? If not, I think we can move straight to the vote on this one, because this has been through the task and finish group in quite some detail. So unless Councillor Ellis, do you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I think it all looks good and we should swiftly move on.
Yeah. Right. So in that case, may I? Oh, see, I nearly forgot again, didn't I? So we are to requested to consider and approve the protocol. That we are asked to note that an additional information sheet has been prepared containing supplementary guidance, which, while not essential to the main protocol, may be of practical benefit to the incoming mayor or deputy mayor. Members are invited to consider and approve proposed reinstatement of the mayor's cadet. So members are to consider the approve the proposed reinstatement of the mayor's cadet as outlined in section 12 of the civic protocol, and members are asked to delegate responsibility to the civic task and finish group to develop an inclusive and transparent selection process for the mayor's cadet role. So more work for the task and finish. Do I have a proposer? Thank you, Councillor Stroud. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councillor Carson. All those in favour? All those against? That was carried unanimously. Great, lovely. Right, so item 11, Ward Members Initiative Scheme for Wellsprings Pond. So we passed a Ward Members Initiative Scheme last month, but I think there was an additional £500, which we're hoping to take or use from another ward member.
Not quite, it's from the last year's budget that wasn't spent.
From the Wellspring
Rockington, yes.
Okay. So, Craig, would you just like to summarise your report?
So, ask members to consider and approve the previously approved Ward Members Initiative Scheme application, but for this extra £500. £4,000 was previously committed at the last meeting in June. And as we discussed, the budget comes from earmark reserve 366 for Wellsprings and Robarton 24-25. The aims are to rejuvenate the pond area that's currently overgrown and unusable, re-establish the pond as an outdoor learning and environmental educational space for 300 pupils, to support well-being, outdoor learning and engagement with nature. The work's going to be reconfiguring and relining the pond, clearing and tidying the surrounding area, replacing an old shed and replacing worn-out educational equipment. In terms of corporate plans, this hits sustainable environment and an engaged community, and it will introduce new planting, encourage wildlife and provide habitats for species, and offers opportunities for children to observe life cycles and biodiversity. It contributes to people's environmental awareness and well-being. The financial implications are that £500 coming from EMR 366, which has sufficient funds available. Risk is fundraising may fall short of total cost, but this is mitigated by this funding. There are no EIA impacts, and the school's existing policies and procedures cover equality measures at the site.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so having last month already committed £4,000 from the Robarton Wellsprings Ward Members Initiative Scheme, this project is now well underway, and so I feel if we were happy to grant the 4,000, I'm sure we'll be happy to grant the extra 500 to ensure its completion and offset any lack of funds that may have arisen in the last month. Councillor Strauss?
Thank you, Chair. I'll be very brief because of the amount we've got through. I visited Wellsprings School officially as Mayor very recently. This school has suffered badly. They've got a hall that they can't use. It's been condemned, and they can only hold assemblies during the summer months. In the winter month, they can only hold class assemblies. They've already gone through all that. The pond for £500, I'm in full agreement. Let's just give them the money. It will be well used. I mean, it's a very valuable project for these, in many cases, very underprivileged children. That's all I want to say, Chair.
Lovely, thank you very much, and I do agree. The money's there. It's there to be spent. It's not been spent so far. It is left over. What did you say, Craig? Left over from what wasn't spent last year. So it can only be spent on the Wellsprings and Robarton area, and it can't be sitting there doing nothing. So we can spend £500 now just to ensure that this project gets across the line. I think I would be happy to propose this. So there you go. Do I have a second? Councillor Garside. All those in favour? All those against? That was carried unanimously. Was that all I had to read out there?
Yeah.
Yes, that's good. I think people get the gist that we were happy to spend the extra
Yes,
£500
absolutely.
in order to see this project completed. Right. Okay. So how are we doing? Okay, let's go for the youth provision consultant specification. So we're here to review and approve the specification for appointing a consultant to assess Taunton's youth provision. So I believe this has come from the youth working group, young people working group, looking at how we can best address the needs of our young people by appointing a consultant to come and assess the needs of this town. And I'm assuming that will be someone with expertise and a wide range of experience that can best highlight for us the issues that we need. So, Tilly, did you want to summarise more?
Thank you, Chair. So the Community and Place Committee approved the appointment of a youth provision specialist consultant on the 27th of May 2025. Since then, officers in the council have developed a specification with the input from members of the Young People Working Group. And this specification document was included as Appendix 1 in the report, which I hope you've had a chance to review. The specification includes the key objectives of the work, the scope of the work, our budget, the timeline, any additional considerations for those submitting a tender, submission instructions and expected deliverables that we ask people to respond to. It supports priority 3 of the Taunton Town Council corporate plan and engaged community, and ensures that youth engagement efforts are informed by expert review and tailored to local needs. There's no new financial implications beyond previously agreed procurement costs, as the budget was approved at the earlier committee meeting. So for clarity, the ask today is just to approve that specification so that we can move forward with the tendering process. There's no new risks that's been identified in approving the specification, and the risks linked to the consultant appointment were previously reviewed. There are no additional equality impact assessment implications or climate and ecological implications. And finally, in terms of timescale, once this is approved, the tender process can begin, and we'll aim to appoint the consultant by late summer, early autumn. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Councillor Ellis?
Yep, I'm very happy with the youth specification document. It's a really good piece of work by Craig and Tilly. We have had really good input as well. So I think this is vital that we move forward. A key aspect of this, since we've had the young people here today, just to reinforce, is actually reflecting the voice of young people themselves. So the consultant will need to work closely and really gauge what, from a young people's perspective, what the gaps are. So that's young people from age 10 to 24 primarily. So I think that's really crucial, you know, unless and until we actually have a really clear picture on what's out there at the moment and what the gaps are, and some expert opinion about how we bridge the gaps and views from young people about what it is that they really need in terms of youth services and what would benefit them the most. Also, what would benefit specific underserved groups the most, whether it's young carers or disabled kids or whatever it is, whichever group it is, unless and until we've got that really good analysis of what's out there, what the gaps are, we won't be able to move forward. And it's great that this will include clear prioritised recommendations, and that will inform the outcomes. This will inform budget setting and plans for next year, because we do intend to invest. We've already invested in youth services, like from the earliest point. We've got the youth grants, which are 3-year ongoing funding for key organisations. So it's not that we haven't done anything, we have, but what we want to do is make sure that we're really strategic about this and address the really key issues for young people. Hence this, and it's a good. I commend it to the committee.
Councillor Garside?
Yeah, I'm very much in favour of this. I think this is money well spent. I think, you know, it's actually a very, very good use of public funds, because as Councillor Ellis pointed out, we will get expert advice, and we won't be throwing, you know, good money after bad money or wasting public money. I think this is really, really a good idea.
I agree.
Oh, you agree. So I think, so I was reading this report, being a scientist, I was naturally drawn to graphs. I love graphs, and I love the fact that in 2011, what was it? You had 5.3% in the 0 to 4 age. 10 years later, that's grown to 6.7. The 10 to 15 is 6.7. So all those 0 to 4-year-olds who probably spent the last 10 years living in Taunton, who are now 2021 are 10 to 14, and their age group increase in numbers. I was also struck by, in 2011, the number of 10 to 15-year-olds. So 10 to 15-year-olds, we had 6.9%. At 10 years, we look at the number of 10 to 24-year-olds. So all those 10 and 11-year-olds, 10 to 15-year-olds 10 years ago, it's gone from, what was it, 10 to 15, 6.9% of the population were 10 to 15 10 years ago. And then add 10 years to their lives, where they're now 20 to 24, 4.3% of our population. So we have lost a significant amount. Now, I assume a lot of them end up going to university. But one thing I came from my report, when I was reading this report, is that what about the 4.3% who are still here? How many of them are not in education, employment or training? And if our youth consultant is addressing the whole range from 0 to 24, I felt identifying our young people who are not in education, training or employment, what is happening to them, what are we doing for them as a town? I'm wondering if we could add that into the youth consultants unit. That's something we could.
I guess, is it implicit in it? I mean, we said this at the very first meeting, didn't we, in terms of the remit of our group, that we did want to address the opportunities within that age group. It's whether that comes under the sort of heading of what youth service. I think it probably does, but maybe we could just delegate just the tweaking and just adding a bit on that. Can we do that? To delegate to
3.4, the detached and targeted youth work. There was supporting specific groups such as the LGBTQ, youth care, young carers, so young people, and then this got antisocial behaviour. Perhaps we could add, looking at our 20 to 24-year-olds who didn't go to university, not that part of the 3% or whatever that left to go to university and find education. They're still here. Are they in training or employment? And if not, perhaps we can try and find a way of identifying, seeing what as a town we can do, as a council we can do.
Yeah, no, Somerset Council has responsibilities in relation to young people who are deemed neat. I don't like that word.
No,
I also think, that generation to a large extent, well, most young people have been failed by successive national governments, if I may put it that way. Maybe we should say, in terms of the task will assess the effectiveness of current targeted interventions, we could say as among that list, and those young people facing barriers to further education, training and employment. And they'll be working with, say, for example, Young Somerset and those organisations. And so if they can give us a sort of, is there anything that we can be doing? I know that Somerset Council, because I've been in touch with Julie Young and her team, they are doing quite a lot on things like supported internships, and there is a team we can work with in terms of future working, on that issue. But there's no harm in just, if you want to add that, can we delegate to Tilly or Craig to add in just a note about young people facing barriers to
make a recommendation or an amendment to
or just add to the scope of the work to make sure that we're looking at, because what happens is we always approach young people and it always seems to stop at 18 or 19, and then suddenly services disappear or support disappears, and you get parents of 20 and 21-year-olds who are thinking, oh, what's out there? Because everyone's focused on up to 18, and I think sometimes we are extending the young guys up. We treat people up to the age of 24 now as still very young and still needing help, and I just think it's another important aspect.
Just to be clear, the spec is to do this, it's to survey and a report on youth services for the 10 to 24 already, so we're already including them. So I think that's about, in a way, it's almost like hopefully it'll be young people saying what they need and what are their priorities and how can, what services might help them. I mean, youth services in and of themselves, the presence of youth services can actually assist with all of those issues, or addressing all of those barriers, actually, because it gives young people confidence. It might give them a skills opportunity they never had before. Or so the youth services themselves would be, the more we can boost those and ensure that from when you're a little 10-year-old to right the way through, you've got access to those services. That's probably the best thing we can do.
There's Bold and Brave, who are helping, young people find work, once they've gone to college, helping them just immerse themselves into a working environment, and a lot of them very successfully gone to future careers. And we have Discovery. I know that's run by Somerset, but perhaps that's something we can, as a town council, they might identify organisations who I think, well, as a town council, you might want to. I mean, that's for the consultant to come up and say. I just think it might be nice, since we've written into 3.4 detached and targeted youth work, kind of better support specific groups such as LGBTQIA+, young carers, those at risk of antisocial behaviour, and also those aged up to 24 who are not in education, employment and training, because I hate the term need as well. I think it's much better spelled out. And just focus that you just a little add that almost to the end of 3.4. And then
I would term it face barriers too, because it's like not their fault. They've been
yeah
done over.
Absolutely, but they just can't. They're just struggling to adapt into adult life for whatever reason. Okay, so in that case, with that, so do we need to? Is that being added to the report, simply voted through as it is, or do we have to vote on that addition?
I would vote on an amendment to add that to the.
Okay, so I propose that we add an amendment to the report so that the youth consultant also looks at the remit of young people not in education, employment or training. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Ellis. All those in favour? All those against? That has been unanimously passed.
And then
In this case, so we are asked to approve the specification for the consultant. Do I have a proposer? Thank you, Councillor Sharp. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Ellis. All those in favour? All those against? Unanimously passed. Excellent, that's good. Right. Christmas full offer. Wow, that's a lot of recommendation. On block.
need to read out all the recommendations.
Do I? Okay, well, first of all, I'm going to let Helen talk to her report.
Thank you, Chair. So yeah, today I'd like to present the full Christmas offer for 2025. As mentioned, it's quite an extensive report, so I'm going to do my best to go through the key points, hoping to cover everything, so that we're not here until 12 o'clock this evening. Yeah, there's quite a few elements to this Christmas offer, so I'll go through each one and then you can vote on each at the end if that works. So just as an overview, members to approve delegated authority to the community and place manager for the expenditure to deliver the Christmas offer. Members to approve covering the cost of parking for the last 2 Saturdays of December before Christmas. Members in principle to approve the exploration of a little festive trees project in Taunton Town Centre, subject to full detail given. Members to approve the acceptance of a donation of a Christmas tree from Langford Lakes and corresponding actions to aid its installation. Members to approve delegation to the community and place manager for the spend of the Christmas street entertainment budget for Christmas street entertainment at various areas within the town centre and the selection of the acts. Members to approve the extension of the Christmas lighting subject to successful procurement within budget and delegate authority to the community and place manager for related expenditure from the Christmas budget. Members to approve the date and delivery of the Christmas light switch on in conjunction with the operator for Winterfest, as well as the £7,000 grant to Winterfest to deliver the event. And finally, members to approve delegated authority to the community and place manager for the delivery of the carols around the bandstand event. So starting off with the delegated authority for the expenditure to deliver the full Christmas offer. So to ensure the timely planning and delivery of this year's Christmas offer, members are asked to approve the delegated authority for associated expenditure. So the confirmed funding for the Christmas 2025 events are Christmas lighting, which is £60,000, Christmas street entertainment, which is £10,000, car parking incentive, £25,000, Winterfest, which is £7,000, and carols around the bandstand, which is £2,500, which totals to £104,500. Moving on to the cost of car parking. So Somerset Council is currently facing a financial emergency. It's therefore recommended that Taunton Town Council offers a free car parking in selected Taunton Town Centre car parks on 2 key Saturdays in the lead up to Christmas. So the proposed Saturdays are the 13th of December and the 20th of December. Within the report, there is a breakdown of the costs of these parkings. As per the 2025 Christmas budget, £25,000 is available to be used on the car parking incentive, and the total cost for these 2 Saturdays in December totals to £24,760, so just under budget. The benefits of festive parking: so it encourages local spending, it supports low-income families, it promotes community engagement, it strengthens the local economy, it promotes Taunton as a festive destination, and it encourages sustainable behaviour. Moving on to the Little Festive Trees project. So the idea of this festive initiative is to install approximately 5 to 8 decorated trees within key locations across Taunton Town Centre. The aim of this would be to enhance the town's festive atmosphere, promote community engagement through decoration and sponsorship by local organisations, and encourage movement of visitors and residents around the town centre. The objectives of this project is to enhance Taunton's festive environment, encourage participation from schools, community groups, charities and businesses to decorate those trees. It's to increase town footfall. It's to support local businesses and to strengthen Taunton's reputation as a destination. So touching on communications and promotional opportunities through the Little Festive Trees project. So we could do a social media campaign to promote the festive trees, including a suggested route for a Taunton's tree trail. On this trail, we can highlight key food and drink stops along the trail, again supporting local businesses. We can invite residents and visitors to share photos of the trees online, so increasing engagement with social media and tagging the council, and organise an opportunity for the mayor to officially launch or visit the tree installations. Moving on to community engagement as part of that same project. So local community groups, businesses, organisations and educational institutions will be invited to decorate or sponsor the festive trees. In terms of the locations of the trees, so this is under review. Potential options include the sites perhaps used for the Taunton Together Festival at the end of September. So this includes Somerset Square, Goodlands Gardens, Castle Green, High Street / Orchard Centre and Hammett Street. Alternatively, we could put the trees in less visited town centre areas to help distribute footfall. Estimated costs for the project are still a bit to be confirmed. We've done some initial outreach, so we're waiting for the suppliers to get back to us on those costs. The tree specifications, so trees will be approximately 8 to 10 feet tall and installed in secure, weighted and anchored containers for health and safety reasons. The timeline will be that the trees will be installed within 1 to 2 days, hopefully, and this will be around the time of the main town centre festive tree installation, so that all happens together. And that's it on the Little Festive Trees project. So moving on to the donation of the Christmas tree. So Langford Lakes, a trusted local supplier of festive trees, has generously offered to donate the 2025 Christmas tree for erection at 4th Street at Taunton Town Centre. Members are asked to approve the following in relation to this donation. So approval of the tree donation, approval for the Town Culture and Events Officer to coordinate and select the tree, and approval of a tree banner featuring sponsored recognition. So this will include the logos of the Taunton Town Council, Langford Lakes and any additional key contributors that have supported the Christmas tree through discounted or donated services. Just to highlight, this tree has been donated by Langford Lakes for Taunton for 15 years. And this installation of the tree will take place week commencing Monday the 17th of November to coincide with Winterfest. Moving on to Christmas street entertainment. So as part of the 2025 Christmas programme, Taunton Town Council will host a series of festive street performances throughout December. These performances aim to create a vibrant and welcoming town centre atmosphere, support local performance and increase footfall in key areas. Budget for this Christmas street entertainment, as mentioned earlier, is £10,000. Street entertainment is proposed to take place at the following locations: at the council's promotional spot in the town centre, outside the Taunton Visitor Centre, in Fleet Street, in High Street, and in St James's Street at Taunton Independent Quarter. Performances will include a mix of musicians and other street entertainments, and street entertainment will be selected via the following criteria. So ensuring a variety of entertainment type that fits into the council's arts, culture and climate objectives, and also prioritising Taunton-based performers, followed by those from the wider Somerset area. Performers will be invited to apply through an online Microsoft form, which will be promoted via the council's social media channels and shared directly with potential applicants from an existing performer directory. Next, we have the Christmas lighting. So again, as mentioned earlier, a total of £60,000 has been allocated from the Christmas budget towards the delivery of festive lighting across the town. Following the results of a 2024 community Christmas survey, details of this are in the Appendix A. It is proposed that festive lighting also be extended to the following areas: East Reach, Bridge Street, Station Road and Bath Place. A quote of £14,569.96 has been received from the current lighting provider for this extension. However, this does exceed the £10,000 allocation for the lighting extensions. As a result, there'll be further liaison with the supplier to explore ways to reduce this cost, including reducing the lighting offer to stay within budget. In addition, lighting is being considered for the bridge near former Debenham site. Costs for this are yet to be confirmed. In terms of the style of lighting, members are invited to provide feedback on the preferred style of lighting. This includes the colours such as warm white or cool white based on previous year's displays to inform the selection of 2025. Next, we have the Christmas Light Switch-On event in conjunction with Winterfest. So in 2024, a community Christmas survey requested by the town clerk indicated public preference for the Christmas light switch on event to be held on Saturday rather than a Sunday. More details of this are in the Appendix A. However, due to an 18-month lead-in time required by Winterfest, it's not feasible to change the 2025 light switch on date with the existing event organiser at this stage. The current supplier is already committed and it is not possible to engage with an alternative provider or deliver the event in-house at the council within the required time frame. It's therefore recommended that the lights be turned on Sunday, the 23rd of November at 6 o'clock for this year, in line with the existing plan, and to be subject to change for 2026. A separate report will be presented at the Community and Place Committee to confirm desired actions for the Christmas offer for 2026. And lastly, we have the Carols Around the Bandstand event. So the Mayor of Taunton is working in partnership with Taunton Team Chaplaincy. They traditionally host a short service at the bandstand at Vivery Park, Taunton. This year, the service is being planned for the evening of Monday, the 8th of December 2025. It is anticipated that the event will mainly attract family groups and the event will not be closed or ticketed. Although busy, it is expected that Vivery Park's maximum capacity of 10,000 attendees at any one time will not be breached. A collection will be taken during the service in aid of the Mayor of Taunton's charity, Young Somerset Bold and Brave. The event will be promoted through social media and traditional press communications. To deliver this event, an expenditure of £2,000 is required from the civic budget. And the event has raised the following for the Mayor's charity in previous years. So for 2024, £730.22 was raised, and in 2023, £915.59 was raised. So with this, taking the report into consideration, so the corporate plan implications, this report aligns with the Council Corporate Plan Priority 1, a prosperous town, Priority 3, an engaged community, and Priority 4, a vibrant culture. For climate and ecological implications, a car parking incentive may increase car use, congestion and emissions. Mitigation for this includes promoting car sharing, walking and cycling and use of park and ride services. For the Little Festive Trees project, this is relatively low impact. Trees will be locally sourced where possible with energy efficient LED lighting and reusable containers being used. Groups will be encouraged to use recycled or eco-friendly decorations if involved in the decoration of those trees. Donation of the Christmas tree, again, minimal environmental impact due to local sourcing. Christmas street entertainment, low overall impact due to minimal infrastructure and energy needs. Preference will be given to Taunton-based performers to reduce travel emissions with lower power requirements. Christmas lighting extension, this is moderate impact due to increased energy use. Lighting will be low energy LED where possible. Procurement will consider suppliers with environmental credentials. Delivery of the Winterfest 2025, again, moderate to high impact with energy use, transport and waste related to markets, entertainment and rides. Sustainability will be supported by promoting green travel and encouraging eco-conscious vendors and performers. Future planning will explore improved sourcing and waste management. As a breakdown of the finance and resource implications, so again, the car parking incentive will have a £25,000 cost. Budget. Christmas street entertainment has £10,000. Winterfest Christmas grant is £7,000. Carols around the bandstand is £2,500 and Christmas lights is £60,000. Carols around the bandstand. The event supports the Mayor's chosen charity, Bold and Brave, and is free and open to the public. Funding for this will be taken out of civic budget, as mentioned earlier. Little Festive Trees project, costs will be determined through further quotes. Funding for this initiative will come from the Christmas lighting budget, so that's £60,000, providing budget allows after other costs have been allocated. The donated Christmas tree is provided through Langford Lakes at no cost, as it's a donation. However, there are costs for labour in moving the trees, securing it and removing the tree, which will be funded through the Christmas lighting project. Christmas lighting extension, so the initial quote was the £14,569.96 for the extensions, which exceeds that 10,000 budget mentioned earlier. So alternative quotes are being sought to make sure that we stay within that £10,000 budget. And delivery of Winterfest, so this is a fixed cost at £7,000 with no extra costs expected. As a summary of any risks, the major one on here, which is marked to actually, I'll do the amber one as well. So we have an amber risk and a red risk. The amber risk is that the festive trees may be subject to vandalism. So to mitigate this, trees will be securely held in position and communications around sourcing trees from sustainable farms. And the red risk will be the increase in vehicles and lighting will result in higher energy consumption. So making sure that this still aligns with our climate strategy. And that's me.
Lovely, thank you. Okay, I think it's kind of 6 reports rolled into one. And I think I might just take them one at a time. I think the recommendations, because this is 6 very separate things, and I don't think we just can. I'm going to, let's deal with the relatively straightforward ones first. Do you want to? I know what Councillor S is going to say.
You don't know what Councillor S is going to say.
Well, can I start with the recommendation 1? Members to approve covering costs of the 24,700 for parking for the last 2 Saturdays in December before Christmas. We did this last year. It was, the evidence was it was very successful. In the previous years we've done it. You look at Appendix A. 81% of all those who responded said it was very, very useful. So I'm beginning to think that actually this is quite straightforward. Unless anyone's got anything they want to say about offering free parking for the last 2 Saturdays. You're happy with that?
Yes.
Can I have those? Thank you, Councillor. This is second, Councillor Garth. All those in favour? Right, we're definitely approved item 1. Members Okay, so members to approve the exploration of a little festive trees project in Taunton Town Centre. I have to say, so this has been done before as a kind of an arts project. Is this what you're going to say?
I need to say what I want to say.
Okay, go on then, Councillor Alice.
Thanks. So we have an amazing organisation, community organisation called Go Create, who pretty much every Christmas I can remember have done a fantastic trail. Largely at their own expense. I don't know how I mean, they're really, it's tough at the moment. So they are the ones who they do an incredible job, but they come up with a different theme each year and they do a slightly different thing. But they're the ones who do basically a trail around town, which is great. And it's, they link in and work closely with local businesses. They've got really good links with all schools and community groups, really wide range of community groups. And they're really, 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 really good at engaging with all of those different stakeholders and putting on amazing trails. So when I saw this, I thought, I definitely would want to amend that recommendation to members in principle to approve working with Go Create, exploring with Go Create Taunton, whether it's the festive little trees or something different. I don't mind, but if I've got a sort of wariness of we're very bureaucratic. I know we're little and we get lots of things done, but we can be very bureaucratic. And the idea of some sort of committee sort of working out how the decorating of the trees and all of that's going to work and who's going to do what kind of fills me with horror. It needs to be in the hands of community folk who are very creative and who've done this before. So I'm very happy to support that or some other trail. Okay, and I like, yeah, it's a cute idea. But I really want us to work with Go Create because we won't be able to deliver something effective unless we work with the people who know what they've done this before. You know what I mean? They do it very, differently each time, but they are just so good at it. So I think we should work very collaboratively with Go Create on this.
Can I just also add to that? So it was fantastic, the Christmas tree trail that Go Create did. And then in January, they auctioned them all off. And I think there's a real kicking. So they got them all together, and I was invited there as mayor when I was mayor at the time, and they auctioned them. And that's a wonderful way of raising money for charity. And that's something we could raise charity again for the mayor's charity. So working with Go Create, getting this kind of Christmas trail, auctioning it again through Kick or some organisation. I mean, Kick who organised. I don't know why they did the auction at the time, but again, it's a nice way of raising money for charity. So I'm kind of with Councillor Ellis. Councillor Strass?
Yes, overall, absolutely fantastic proposal. Thank you for the hard work that went into this. Just one caveat, in section 3.
Councillor Strass, can we just deal with the...
We'd already touched on 3.
Recommendation 2.
It's talking about Taunton Street Trail, but okay, let's...
Yeah, recommendation 2 is just referring. So I'll come back to you when we come on to item 3. Councillor Garson?
Yes, I mean, I very much endorse Councillor Ellis's suggestion. I think, Go Create would do a wonderful job, but I don't want to miss out on the little festive trees because I just like the idea of having little lit trees around the town in places where we don't normally have them, and I think they would add to the party atmosphere that we want to create at Christmas time. So I mean, I think that they very much have to be part of the trail. So, every so often you come across one of these little beautiful illuminated trees.
Councillor Alice?
We could have them just as an additional decoration.
Yes, yes.
I agree. It'd be nice to have. You've got the great, and I think it's great. You've got the massive, the central one, and it'd be lovely to have little cutesy ones around and about. Yeah. So I think we just need to, so we can have those as well potentially. But in terms of what forms the trail, I definitely think we should work with Go Create, and let's just make sure we don't tie them up in ridiculous bureaucratic knots over it. Let's just really work with them and find a way that they can deliver something.
And the nice thing about the trail is that they'll kind of be shop windows, so you have to go out kind of almost find them. So it's a good way of getting people to go around. I think it needed perhaps better advertising. I think I first knew about it when I went along to go to the auction. But yeah, so how do you would like to rephrase recommendation 2, Councillor Ellis?
members to approve exploring either Little Festive Trees project trail or another Christmas trail in Taunton Town Centre with Go Create Taunton.
So I mean, we still wanted the little festive trees dotted
Yeah,
out, which aren't necessarily.
We definitely want them.
Can that go as part of recommendation 3, members to approve the acceptance for donation, and also to purchase little trees to go around town? That's we should split it up.
Yeah.
Look for a trail in conjunction with Go Create, and then to approve the acceptance of a donation from Christmas Tree. And I will come back to you, Councillor Strauss, on the point he wants to make that. But add to it also an additional 10 trees to go around the town, because as Councillor Garza said, it's nice to come across a tree. That's nice to do. So if you don't walk into it.
Yes.
So they're very, very prickly.
Yes, as long as you don't have too much mulled wine, Nick.
My favourite. So recommendation 2, members to approve the expression of a Little Festive Trees project in Taunton Town Centre in conjunction with Go Create, which produces that could be auctioned, raise money for charity.
I think we should just maybe leave it to explore, go and talk to, basically our people need to talk to Go Create and figure out what's doable.
Agreed.
Yeah, okay, so that's did you catch that?
I shall.
Members to approve the exploration of a Little Festive Trees project in Taunton Town Centre in conjunction with art communities such as Go Create. Art community such as Go Create. Do I have a proposer for that? Do I have a seconder? That's Councillor Ellis, Councillor Garza. All those in favour? All those against? Right, so recommendation 2 in conjunction with Go Create Taunton. Right, so then recommendation 3 were members to approve the acceptance of a donation of a Christmas tree from Langford Lakes and corresponding actions to aid its installation, and also to acquire how many trees is it we wanted?
We're looking at 5 to 8.
5 to 8 trees
on cost.
to plant.
Yeah.
Not literally, to plant around the town.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Councillor Strauss, you had something you want to send.
I did. Communications and promotional opportunities. The second point, highlight key food and drink stops along the trail to encourage increased footfall and support for local businesses. It sounds like an authorised pub crawl for the mayor. I'm all in favour, but I'm just a little bit concerned when we say highlight key food and drink stops along the trail. We have to be very careful how we do this, because if we pick some places and not others, the ones that are left out could reasonably say, well, why did you leave us out? So how we actually select them, we have to be very careful. I don't want to go into details at this stage, how we do it. We need to take it.
Strategic as to where we place the trees that encourage people to go to those areas.
Yes.
Yes.
But we mustn't seem to be promoting some outlets and not others.
And of course, with 5 to 8 trees, that's 5 to 8 areas, which I think pretty much covers most of the town centre.
Well, I'm all in favour because it does back up all I want to do for hospitality within the town. I mean, it's win-win. It's just to be seen to be doing it objectively.
So have you managed to?
Other than that, I'm happy with that.
Recommendation 3.
Regards to the extra trees.
Yes, so members to approve the acceptance of a donation of a Christmas tree from Langford Lakes and corresponding actions to aid in its installation, and also to acquire 5 to 8 trees that can be placed in 5 to 8 areas or in different areas.
Strategic locations.
Strategic locations in the town centre. So independent quarter to Bath Street.
Yeah.
East,
East
mustn't forget East Reach.
East Reach is very important.
Yeah. And from East Reach up to, well, I suppose up to here. I mean, this is still.
Yeah.
We've had consistent complaints from
What
people like, sorry. I was just saying, to back that up, we've had consistent complaints ever since I've been involved with the council from Watkins, who always say they're left out.
Yeah.
It's very important that, and he's not the only retailer in East Reach.
No.
This is psychologically very important.
Yeah. So yeah, Christmas tree along East Reach, I think. Would be, yeah. And as far north as here. As well.
Absolutely.
Okay, so do you want to read out recommendation 3?
Yep, so approve the acceptance of a donation of a Christmas tree from Langford Lakes and and acquire further 5 to 8 additional Christmas trees and corresponding actions.
Yes, there's members to approve the acceptance of a donation of a Christmas tree from Langford Lakes and corresponding actions to aid its installation, and also to acquire a further 8 to 10 smaller trees, aren't they?
Yeah.
8 to 10 smaller trees, which can be placed strategically around the town from East Reach to Station Road.
We did say 5 to 8
Hampton
in the
Quarter.
original proposal.
Yeah.
And you're now saying 8 to 10.
No, I say 5 to 8. Did I say 8 to 10?
No,
I
but
said
5
5 to
trees, 8 to
Sorry.
10 feet.
8 to 10 feet. So yes, that's for 5 to 8 trees. Brackets 8 to 10 feet. Placed strategically, and I think we should be including the independent water, Bath Place, East Reach, and
Woodlands Gardens, maybe.
Woodlands Gardens.
That's ours.
Yeah. Right. Do I have a proposer? Councillor Strauss, seconder. Councillor Ellis. All those in favour? All those against? Carried unanimously. Right. So I think that's the Christmas lights, because we number 4, members to approve the community place for the entertainment. Well, we had this last year. I think it worked very successfully, and I think we're happy with Craig's choice. And quite happy for him to have to run around and fill the vacancies when somebody drops out at last minute, rather than called by the councillors to come out with their ukuleles, banjos, and harmonicas. So are we all happy with item 4? Proposer, Councillor Strauss, seconder, Councillor Carside. All those in favour? Against? No, that was item 4 was carried. So members, number 5, members to approve the extension of the Christmas tree lighting. So given the report highlights the fact that people have voted for an extension into these areas, and in line with Councillor Strauss's comments that we mustn't forget others, I can't remember the report now, are we extending the lights down to East Reach?
Yes, let me just double check.
Doesn't mention East Reach, and it doesn't mention Woodlands Gardens.
It says here, it's proposed that the festive lighting also be extended to the following areas: East Reach, Bridge Street, Station Road, and Bath Place.
I'm sorry, that's the lighting. We didn't talk about the entertainment though, which is item 5. Street entertainment is proposed to take place.
Just voted for that.
We voted for that.
Yeah.
Okay, right, fair enough.
So, oh, wait a minute. I think I'm reading them in a different order from them at the top.
Thank you.
At the top of the report, they're in a different order, and I'm reading them from the bottom of the report.
Okay.
So yeah, we've done 4, which was the entertainment.
We haven't done 5.
Yeah, number 5 is now the extension of the Christmas lighting, which since it does, we've already talked about the importance of extending it to other areas. So I'm happy to propose. Councillors happy to second. All those in favour? All those against? No, we've approved number 5.
It says on here 5 is the delegation in respect of Christmas street entertainment.
Yes, yeah. Are you reading at the top of the report?
Totally different.
It says number 5.
Totally different number.
That's part of the report.
It says full offer, Christmas full.
No idea.
Yeah.
I'm just confused. So. As long as we all know what we're voting for, that's all.
That's the purpose of the report.
So yeah, so these would be the points to vote on.
Well, I see those as the purpose of the report, and the recommendations are what we vote on. We recommend.
As long as we spell out the paragraph name, I'm happy.
The next one I've got is Winterfest.
Yeah.
So we missed that one.
So I'm just reading from the list of recommendations. So we have recommended to
Right.
approve,
Fair enough. Yep.
recommended, the little trees with addition to go create.
Just on that, sorry
Okay.
to be a pain, sorry to be pedantic. What if that, so if we are, it may be that they, because they did Christmas trees last year, Go Create may have a better idea. Or they may, I think we should just leave it flexible as to what the trail involves, you know what I mean?
We put the trees as part of recommendation 3.
Yeah, the little
So
trees are
actually,
a different
the
thing.
trail can be.
It could be connected or it could be different, but could be penguins.
Yeah. Are they particularly Christmas penguins?
Could be. Let them
Reindeer, could be reindeer.
concept.
Okay, well, okay, so I've been going down the list of recommendations, which is what I'm assuming we have to.
And we are.
Oh, yes,
The 5, which is the extension of the
Christmas lighting subject to successful procurement.
In regards to the agenda, we're point.
Okay.
It's number 5 according to this.
Yes, so we've done that, haven't we? We've now approved to extend the Christmas lighting into the other areas.
Yeah.
Right. So 6, members to approve the date and delivery of the Christmas light switch on. Now I see this, the £7,000 grant is what we, as a committee, we give to Winterfest every year, isn't it? It's taken out of the grant. So what we're doing is confirming a decision that we've already taken. So unless anyone can think of a reason why we shouldn't, no, in that case I propose. Seconder, councillor Garthide, all those in favour? Yeah, so item 6. So the £7,000 grant to Winterfest we approve. I think it's probably too late to change it from a Sunday to Saturday now, isn't it?
Definitely. It's important.
Yeah, so I think that there was a move with the appendix was suggesting that people would like to see it changed, but I think it's too late to do that for this year. Right, members, and then 7 and 8, members to approve delegated authority to community place manager of expenditure to deliver this Christmas offer. So we're happy for Craig to authorise all the spends, and also are we happy for the bands, cows around the bandstand to go ahead? It comes from the civic budget anyway, so the money's already there. So I propose that items 7 and 8 are accepted. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Ellis, thank you. All those in favour? All those against? No, good. So items 7 and 8 were approved. Right. Okay, so we're going to have to, we're going to have to go for standing. Well, we'll go to 8 o'clock and then we'll have a break, shall we?
Yeah, got 6 items here.
Tender Taunton Together. So members to consider the procurement of an event management supplier to deliver the Taunton Together Festival on 2026-2028. Members to consider delegating authority to the community and place manager to finalise the service level agreements and manage performance delivery. Members to note the potential for additional expenditure in the 2025-2026 financial year to accommodate early planning costs. And this is for Tilly to summarise.
Thank you, Chair. So the purpose of this report is to seek member approval to initiate a procurement process for contracting out the event management of the Taunton Together Festival commencing from September 2025 for the event management of Taunton Together 2026, 2027, 2028 and 2029. So Taunton Together Festival has grown in scale over the last year, and it's created resourcing and strategic challenges when managed in-house. We've also had feedback from stakeholders who've highlighted a need for a more balanced approach with less council-led and more community-driven, which we feel that by managing this through a tender, it would allow us to still have that operational control. We'd still be able to make decisions such as the theme, etc. But the operational day-to-day of the event management would be outsourced and managed through a contract agreement through our town culture and events officer, which would therefore allow the event to have a more community-driven feel. The outsourcing model that we are proposing is based on the model that was used to manage the previous Summerfest event that some councillors may remember. The the alignment of this suggestion to our goals are community cohesion, cultural identity, and inclusive civic events. And it allows us to outsource some of the operational tasks whilst maintaining the quality, which allows us to free up internal resources for other arts and cultural priorities, while still having good oversight of the Taunton Together event. The financial commitment and resources. So the service level agreement for this will be of a value of up to £30,000, and this will come from the Taunton Together budget, which is 160,724. It is asked to note that there is a potential additional expenditure before April 2026 to allow the contractor appointed to have working capital to begin appointing acts, etc. for the 2026 event. Risk considerations. So there could be a risk of a loss of local knowledge. However, this will be mitigated through ensuring that there's local involvement and clear service level agreements. There is a risk for reduced control, but this would be addressed by detailed service level agreements and regular oversight meetings. There is also a risk of contract failure, but this would be mitigated through contingency plans as well as those ongoing oversight meetings. In terms of equality considerations, outsourced providers would be required to prioritise accessibility, cultural sensitivity, and make sure that their programming is representative of the town. And equality will be part of the assessment criterion during the tender evaluation. In terms of the climate and ecological implications, contractors must comply with the council's climate commitments, and our service level agreements will include environmental performance measures. In terms of the timescale for this, the tender preparation stage will take place between July and August 2025, with the procurement launch in early September 2025. We then hope to appoint a successful contractor to manage the event in late September 2025, which would allow planning to start in October, which would allow for effectively between 11 and 12 months lead-in time for the next event, which we feel from feedback is a suitable amount of time to be able to pull the event together. I believe that is everything. Thank you.
Councillor Strauss?
Yes, from what I understand, there was a certain amount of concern from quite a number of community service organisations such as Rotary, and also I think the Chamber of Commerce and others. I think having an external management supplier is good, but the brief has to involve the various organisations in the town, not somebody who says this is what we're going to do and bring them in when it's too late. They have to be involved. The stakeholders have to be involved at an early stage this year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Ellis and then Councillor Gardner.
Yeah, no, I think I support the overall gist of this. It's a big undertaking. I think it's maybe trying to do a little bit too much, actually, to be perfectly frank, like diversity and culture and this and this and the other. And it's like, whoa, too much. You know, it might need to be sort of narrowed down a little bit, frankly. And so we have some very, very experienced organisations with a lot who are rooted in our community who've run, say for example, I think it was Fuse that ran Summerfest, delivered Summerfest from 2012 to 2019. Go Create Taunton delivered absolutely amazing Taunton Live and Pride festivals. They're not the only ones. There's other. So there are some really, really good organisations out there who have very strong partnerships, who I think could do an amazing job, and it would be great because it would free up Helen, who's got an incredible, really, really interesting background, and would have a lot to offer if we can actually spend some more time doing some of the other stuff in the culture strategy and addressing a lot, there's so much in that strategy
I
that we
agree.
need to kind of be getting on top of. And if all of her 90% of her time is spent on Taunton Together, that's not, I don't think that's the best scenario. What I would say is if we go for this arrangement, when you're selecting the, whatever the phrase is, when you're looking at the different, you put it out to tender and then you get bids back in, don't you? Could we, me and Vanessa, be involved in selecting those? Could we be on the panel?
Yeah, I think that would be absolutely fine. I think what would be a good practice approach is perhaps the shortlist could go through the Arts and Culture Working Group, and perhaps the Arts and Culture Working Group could support in terms of approving the specification, if that would be of interest.
Councillor.
I'd just like to say the first time we did the Taunton Together, there was just Craig running it. It was just Craig in charge of it. And I just thought he did an absolutely brilliant job, because Laura Batchett only joined him halfway through organising it. And he appointed area supervisors from the arts and culture community for each of the different areas. And that worked brilliantly. I thought it actually worked brilliantly. And these people, they actually know what's going on in the town, what people might be interested in. I think he did a brilliant job on that first Taunton Together, and it didn't seem a hassle. And in fact, I was absolutely stunned by his organisational powers. And I will say, Craig, I'm sorry he's not here, because I'd like to tell him he did a wonderful job. And those area supervisors, they said, I mean, Go Create organised the area alongside the river, Goodlands Gardens. They said it's the first time they've organised something which there was no hassle for them. They really enjoyed doing it. And Craig took the pain out of it, you know, because he did help them with the risk assessments and all that kind of thing. So there was very little stress, very little pain, and yet, you know, they delivered a wonderful festival, and we had the input, the advice and recommendations from the diversity cultural officer who was employed by Somerset Council. She came and helped, and so we had a lot of very diverse kinds of acts and dancing and music, everything. I mean, and I thought it was a brilliant festival which everybody enjoyed. And in fact, people came out of the woodwork, said they'd never been to Taunton before, but they thought it was such a wonderful place. They didn't know it was such a wonderful place, and that just because they came to that festival. So I thought it was a great success, and I don't know why it was changed this year. It was very clunky, and it didn't work for many people.
Strauss.
I hear what you.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Strauss. We need to extend standing orders for.
We do.
Should we just go for the hour? No, hopefully we need it. Do I have a proposer? Okay, Councillor Harris, Councillor Strauss, second. All those in favour? Councillor Strauss.
Seconded it.
I know. Just, thank you. Okay, so no, Councillor Strauss, you
So I'll be brief. I have the greatest respect for Craig. Don't get me wrong, and I've told him that, and he did do a wonderful job. It's a shame he's not here this evening to participate in this discussion before we make a strategic decision. The pressures on Craig have increased immensely, because the nature of the council is changing. So whilst in theory it would be great if Craig organised the whole thing again.
No,
is this what you're saying?
It would be Tilly's job. I mean, sorry, Helen's job.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be Helen's
Okay.
job. Yeah.
But I really feel that before we make any strategic decisions, Craig ought to be part of this conversation, because it has to be something that works. I'm very aware of the pressures on our staff. You're all doing a wonderful job, I have to say. This is my personal view. But we do really have to be careful that you're not overburdened, and it may be part of the mix is an external consultant, but that consultant has to be briefed very carefully, because we mustn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Craig's expertise is very valuable. So I think,
as I think all our officers who work,
as indeed all our officers, but we've specifically mentioned how good Craig was in organising the event the year before last. Last year, or this current year, was not as successful as it might have been because of the pressures. And that's why we're having this discussion. I just very sensitive. I just want to make sure that we make the right decision and nobody is offended by it.
Craig is away. He did say he would be able to be called in if we wanted him to be part of a discussion, so I can try and call him in if it would be of interest.
okay, so Tilly just said Craig is available to phone in if you wanted to talk to him, but I have a feeling if he's away, I think he's
Oh yes, I don't think we should just.
No. He can catch up on the recording and hear all the praise.
Yeah.
But no, I don't want to confused. Councillor Evans?
Yeah, just quickly, just to add to the praise of Craig, he's a legend, and if we could clone him, that would be amazing. He needs to be cloned. There need to be about 5, possibly 10 Craigs, and then he could do everything, but he can't. That's the thing. He's overseeing a vast amount of work in different areas, huge. So, you know, as much as I agree with what Vanessa has said, it's not feasible. It's certainly not feasible. If you can put it on an officer, but that will be their entire life for a year down the money. So I think, and I'm assuming Craig is in support of this, otherwise it wouldn't be on the agenda tonight. So I think I think that this is something we should just bite the bullet and go for it.
I agree.
So, I mean, for me, it's the risks. It's I remember when I first read this, is the loss of local knowledge. I think if we go to an external supplier, contractor, it's the loss. Where do they come from? Are they from Taunton? They've got to be. And also, one of the concerns I raised is that Taunton Together is a festival of Taunton, and I worry that as a town council, we're putting it on. I mean, as taking certain funding it, we'll be losing some control. So I'm worried about this. I think our officers have done a fantastic job putting on, and certainly putting on this year. And I've been to a lot of the briefings. There's a lot of good organisation, and we're on top of it. So for me, I think, as I say, it's a festival of Taunton, and I think it should be organised by the people and for the people of Taunton, to shamelessly misquote a pan meeting there. And I'm wondering, I mean, if you go to other parishes, they have carnival committees or annual parish, like up in Kingston, they put on a wonderful annual fun day. There's people in the parish council, and they co-opt all the little villages. I think we need something like the carnival committee, but for Taunton Together, where we have all our stakeholders, people from the Chamber of Commerce, people from our arts, the Brewhouse, the Somerset, everyone all just chipping in and trying to arrange this, and with our officers just overseeing it. But I feel, for me, that's a better model.
Nick, I think that's what we've got at the moment, but it's much too complicated.
What I've seen is that our officers doing all the chasing and trying to get people in, as opposed to the whole town trying to. But yes,
well, I just wanted to say that the purpose of the festival is to promote local talent. So we need somebody local who knows what local talent we have, what's available. So it has to be somebody from the Arts and Culture Committee, and that's why it was so good that they had different people from the Arts and Culture Committee organising different areas, like Vicky from the Brewhouse, who organised Somerset Square, Go Create and Goodland Gardens, Tyker organising the High Street. So they knew what local talent was available, showing off our local people, what fantastic talent we have in Taunton. And so it's essential that we get someone from that community. Yeah.
external contract.
Or maybe several people in that community. I'm just saying that was a really good model that Craig used to do it. And okay, you know, maybe it's too much for one officer to take responsibility for the whole thing. But it's a pity he's not here to actually say what the burden was. I mean, he seemed to do it very effortlessly. He wasn't you know, pulling his hair out or getting stressed or anything.
Yes, we also have like a Taunton together committee, but the kind of where somebody else chairs it.
Yeah.
Our officers are part of it,
Yeah.
and our funding, and it's our local people, our local organisations that are running it and sharing it, as opposed to necessarily town council in complete control. Councillor Strath?
One of the people that I would strongly recommend that we do bring in at an early stage to get his views on this is Adrian Fryer-Sankey. He's the past mayor of Taunton. He has been heavily involved in this event. He's now president of Rotary. It's the Rotary Club of Taunton. I know he's got particular views on this, and I would like to make sure that people who really do understand the situation and have been involved are consulted at an early stage before we start making these huge decisions over actually appointing an external person and drawing up the brief.
Can I just point out that all the money is coming from the arts and culture budget. This is an arts festival to promote the arts of Taunton. It's not real. I mean, the community organisations wanted to show what they can do as well. But it's basically an arts festival, and it uses up most of the arts and culture budget, and so it's really, really important that it promotes local talent.
Yeah, so and the arts and culture budget, of course, is part of the town council budget. I mean, I would have to say, Taika have got arts council funding themselves, which they're using. So there's a significant contribution from outside bodies looking at Taika. So it's not predominantly all arts and council budget. But that's the other point, isn't it? If it's our arts and council budget that's driving it, fueling it, if you like, then I think an outside contractor were having a lot of reduced control whilst handing over the money for it. So I do feel okay, taking it then can.
I just wanted to address some of the questions and concerns around the loss of control. So I just wanted to highlight that decisions would still come to committee, so there would still be the same approvals we've had in previous years around programming, etc. We'd still have oversight of where money is spent, how things are organised, but it's to ultimately, and two key reasons that we put this forward is firstly to reduce officer workload. As I think every councillor here has recognised, there is a extensive workload across the community and place team. Currently, the Taunton Together Festival is the responsibility of the Town Culture and Events Officer, but it is probably taking about 90% of their time. There's also Christmas that we just discussed that is unfortunately having to take a bit of a, bit of slower approach because of the commitments around Taunton Together. There is also the whole arts and culture strategy that was approved at the committee previously, which has ambitions and actions in that we're looking to move forward on. So the query, I guess, there is in terms of that's the first key thing. The second is that, as we've discussed, by adopting this different model of outsourcing or using an external party to coordinate the events management, their role is to engage with the stakeholders. Perhaps they will be able to have a more successful committee, as Councillor O'Donnell discussed, because actually instead of it's the council enforcing that they want to have meetings with stakeholders, it's coming from within, it's coming from the ground up. And we've seen that models like that have worked previously. So I just wanted to hopefully alleviate some concerns that actually we will retain that same operational control. The theme will still be agreed by our councillors, the spend will still be agreed. It just alleviates that burden and ensures that our wonderful partners and stakeholders have someone that they are perhaps more familiar with as part of their community who's spearheading that management, as opposed to an officer that perhaps they are less familiar with.
Councillor Strauss?
Couldn't agree with you more, Tilly. I think it's something we have to consider. All I'm saying is that when the brief is drawn up, we need to get the different viewpoints clearly in place so that the decision is made that is widely acceptable. And I accept it is primarily an arts festival. I don't question that at all.
Now, can I just clarify something quickly? We're contracting out to an outside. Could we do that? Could we then as a contractor where they're almost still kind of a Taunton Town Council employee, but they're not an employee, you contract them, so they're still working for us, as opposed to some outside organizer who says, yeah, yes, I'll come and put on this show for you, I'll do this, this and this. And then every time we come to a committee and we approve something, we come across a clash of artistic differences and, you know, always get thrown out of prams and sorts of situations. Whereas if, you know, because I can see we don't want an employee because that comes with additional cost, pensions and everything else. Whereas, but, you know, a lot of companies do buying contractors, people with a specific purpose, right? Here's the money. This is what we will pay you to come and organise this for us. And we are in complete control of what we're doing. You are the one who run all the meetings. You go out and talk to all people. But he's kind of, I don't know how it works in terms of employment law, legal law. I mean, I know for engineering firms, we wanted some additional skill. We would just go to an agency and hire a contractor. But that person worked for the company, even though he's.
In law, it's called a contract for services,
Right.
rather than a contract of service.
Right.
So you have to draw up your brief.
Yeah.
So you can't tell that person how to do the job. It's all about outcomes, and you agree the cost that it's going to cost us for producing that outcome. So it's not paid per hour. There's a rate for the job for an agreed set of outcomes.
But they are working for you.
Well, yes, but on a subcontract basis as self-employed people,
Yeah.
and the
Yes.
provisions are different. You can't tell that person how to do the job. You can only tell that person what you want achieved, and that's how they're measured.
Okay.
It's a different way of looking at it, and you pay them a fee, which they're then responsible for paying tax on. That's got nothing to do with the council. You pay them X pounds for the job in whatever steps you want to take. If you pay them so much a month or so much. You know, however that's done is irrelevant. It's what the terms of the contract are. It's a contract for services.
Yeah, Councillor Ellis, did you?
Yeah, yeah, I think I might have misunderstood this then. So it's basically an event. I mean, the way I conceive it is a bit more like how Fuse used to do it. So it was like you contract with an organisation, not just somebody who's like a random person, and definitely have to have local knowledge.
Yes.
My concern is that I think what would help is, so where whatever the document is that has the specific, you know, like for the youth services specification, we need to have sight of what the spec is, what we're asked exactly, what is in that specification, and that will help, I think, clarify a lot of, you know, concerns and what have you. I think definitely we cannot cope with having to do, for, you know, one of our officers having to do the entire thing in-house. I think we need to see the specification. I'm just a bit worried about everything nth degree coming to committee and have it, you know, it's like you can't organise amazing events ultimately by committee. You need to just say, right, you're a mate, you've got these ideas, right, we've booked this person, we've booked that person. Let's, you know, you can't.
Your responsibility.
I don't want papers still coming here saying we agree the £50 for this, or here's a list of 30-page document with billion recommendations. It's like, no, that's
you're 100% right. The committee's
is we've got this. We want to put this festival. This is the theme. This is what we want included.
Yeah.
This is who we want to be involved.
Exactly. The committee's role is to draw up parameters. The committee's role is to draw up the parameters.
Yeah.
How they're executed is up to that person.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we decide the strategy, but how they do it is up to them.
Yeah.
So okay, we ought to move this on. How do we? So the recommendation.
We agree in principle.
The recommendation is to approve the procurement of an event management supplier to deliver the Taunton Festival together from 2026 to 2028. I'm not sure we have quite.
Not really well.
We're not there. Are we?
We're not.
No.
No, so there, I'm afraid.
But we're talking about this Christmas, aren't we?
No, for
No, it's not.
2026 to 28.
26. Oh, we've got, then we've got time.
Yeah, the 2025 one's all.
Then that's fine. Then I think we'll
Right.
refer that to the
Laura,
next
then
one.
it's Helen, then Tilly have all been working very hard and it's all coming together and it's going to be wonderful.
Yeah, no, well done.
It's going to be wonderful. So, we're not quite. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to say I have permission that we've got a draft specification, so I can share that with
Excellent.
everyone.
Yes.
I can share that in today's meeting if it would help make a decision. Equally, if we don't feel like we're there, I can share it afterwards too.
We still got a lot to discuss.
Mm,
I don't think we can make that decision tonight.
no.
Councillor Ellis.
I'd be happy to make the decision subject to us actually, the specification we've decided is key, haven't we? And that
yes.
needs democratic
I agree with
oversight, so I'm not actually,
I hate to
Yeah.
say, but is it worth having an extraordinary community in place for one item where you've got the chance to go and get it all done nicely prepared, written up? We've all got a time, a few days to read it through and then.
I have no idea what's in that spec, so I can't, what
And
we.
having shared now, I think we'll be making a very smart decision.
Yeah, no, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
I don't see why we can't agree in principle. It's what we want to do, but the detail of how we actually do it and what the spec is, that needs further discussion.
Yeah.
But I think we're in agreement that we need that having somebody who's a specialist under contract to the council, is that something we're all agreed upon in principle?
Because notice to approve the procurement of event managers suppliers to deliver the Taunton Together Festival from 2026 to 2028 on the basis of the specification that is. What's the word? Shown to councillors. To be approved by councillors.
I think we've got.
Well, we're definitely. Recommendation to members to approve delegated authority to the community in place manager to finalise the service level agreement and manage performance delivery. We're happy with that one. If we, members to note the potential for additional expenditure in the 2025 to 26 financial year to accommodate early planning costs. I think we can all pass those recommendations.
Are we not all agreed that it's too much for the officers to do everything?
It is.
We have agreed that, haven't we?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Right. That we should just
It-
hand it all over to external
It's
contractors.
it's the details
Yeah.
we still have to discuss. It's the principle we can agree upon.
I want to know what was actually being put out to tender, so there's a document with a
Yes.
specification that we haven't seen.
Correct.
So I want to see it before that goes out. I don't just want to see it, I want us to
Approve it.
effectively approve it.
Yeah,
So we're
I-
agreeing in principle with the process, we want to approve the spec.
Yes.
And I think that needs to come back to our committee, and even if it is an extraordinary.
Yeah.
Sorry, Councillor Fernandez. Can we do that, Ollie?
The next meeting's not till September, is it?
No, it would have to be an extraordinary. I don't.
Yeah.
See, the officers have done such a good job. We don't want to. We want them to stay in control.
So would you agree to the first one in principle?
In principle, in light of full details on its specification being approved, revealed and approved, isn't it? Because
Specified.
specified, we've got to see it and we've got to approve it.
We've got to know what we're voting.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And then we can go for all three on block then, can we? Oh no, we have to
amend it, don't we?
have to propose then. So the amendment for left, just like the amendment. Oh, I've had a lovely holiday. It's been a lovely week. I've been so relaxed. Now it seems a different dispensation me already.
Yeah.
So what was the end of the I've got in light of the specification being presented to the committee.
Oh, sorry, yes. Sorry, Ollie, are you able to, you might have to speak for the muffin.
No, just for the last bit, I've got in light of the specification being presented to the committee.
Yes, being presented to the committee for approval.
So members to approve the procurement of event management supplies to deliver the Taunton Together Festival from 2026 to 2028 in light of the specification being presented to the committee for approval.
Maybe say subject to instead of like subject to
No.
the
Yeah.
Agreed.
So is that the first approval, subject to?
yeah.
Members to. Oh, yes, subject to the specification being presented to the committee for approval. Yeah. Okay, do I have a proposal? Thank you, Councillor. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Strass. All those in favour? All those against? Right, so we have approved that. So now the recommendation is recommendation 1, as it has just been read. Recommendation 2, members to approve delegated authority to the community and place manager to finalise the service level agreement and manage performance delivery. And recommendation 3, members to note the potential for additional expenditure in the 2025-2026 financial year to accommodate early planning costs. Do I have a proposer? Councillor Strass, seconder. Councillor Ellis, all those in favour? Those against? That was approved. So approved. We'll now take a 5-minute rest break. We definitely need it. Well, I was hoping to have one half an hour ago. That was approved. Yes, you know.
Fine.
No, but
We're very lots of it, I agree.
I think by then, yes.
Are we breaking?
Fine.
Yeah, of course, so if you vote, so.
Okay,
Let's do.
Councillor Strass,
Really successful.
Martin, Vanessa. We have to vote to have a break. So I propose second. All those in favour?
We've got a majority.
Go forward, quick. All those in favour?
Sorry. Okay.